Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Breaking News with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Nintendo raising prices, but not for Switch 2 hardware as pre-order information re-emerges. It's going to be a good one because we have Tamor Hussein on the show. Tam, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm living. I am.
Making it happen.
It's Friday. It's Friday. I was mentioning to you how my Amazon delivery package driver thingy man, whoever it is, she's straight up lying to me in app. Caught in 4K on my iPhone. She's being like, "Oh, I left this by your door," and I was like, "No, you fucking didn't."
Yeah, it's happened to me too. It's happened to me before, where they say they delivered it, and then it will still then show up a couple days later. I wonder what happens there. Like,
you know what I've started doing to counteract that? I've started immediately requesting a replacement.
Yeah, that's a good call.
As soon as if it's not there the time they say it, and I don't care about that, it will show up in a couple of days. I'm like, no, I need this now. Send me a replacement. Then I have two of the item.
There you go.
So I am actively defrauding Jeff Bezos, which makes me a good person, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's defrauding you, right? They just said it was delivered, and it hasn't been.
He can't get his package to me, but he can send a bunch of annoying ladies into space.
He can do that.
What are you doing? Okay. Why does Katy Perry need to be up there?
Tam, I'm refusing to keep up with this. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Why is she up there?
I don't know. It seems to be like a publicity stunt, and that's as much as I know about it. And I'm like, I don't need to pay attention
are you getting out of Katy Perry?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
beyond
want to have an opinion on this one. I want this one to just go away.
She's been washed, dried, and rewashed.
Yeah,
that is crazy. You know what? Of all the times, I wouldn't have minded if like some sort of horrible alien space kind of like situation unfolded. That's the movie we should write and make. Jan, this is how we get our... Was it an Emmy or an Oscar you wanted?
We want the EGOT.
I'm going for an Oscar, okay?
Okay.
Like, this time, 4 annoying celebrities go to space, and then Alien happens.
Isn't that just Fantastic Four?
No, because the Fantastic Four are America's first family. They
okay, they're not annoying.
They're important, yeah.
Okay.
Like it has to be like Katy Perry,
Andy
and
Dick.
a bunch of but like equivalents, not actually Katy Perry, someone who's like Katy Perry. It's Katy Perry, and fucking who else is annoying? I can't think of any annoying.
That's the only annoying person. That's it.
There's only one annoying celebrity, and it's Katy Perry. Shit, wow. Katy Perry, Riff Raff can go up there as well.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Hulk Hogan, because he'll constantly be like coming in like tearing his shirt off and saying brother, and he'll be the first to die. Whatever the xenomorph is in our thing, I think what would happen is the xenomorph equivalent would kill him, and then in the next scene reappear wearing his bandana, and then for the rest of the movie he's wearing that bandana, and it's just like, oh damn, they killed.
Yeah, the xenomorphomania is going to run wild on you, brother. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And the xenomorph will specifically be like, "You're a racist. I'm killing you for that reason only."
I like, and it just says that in perfect like English, so everyone understands.
Otherwise, he's like, when he reaches,
"Sir, you are racist, and I'm killing you.
You are a racist. I am gonna eat your ass. And if I make it to Earth,
a plate of spaghetti.
I'm coming for your family."
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to watch this. It sounds delightful. It's what we need right now. It also, speaking of racist wrestlers, you see every wrestler's just saying dumb stuff, and more so than usual. They're having a week. John Cena's like, I get the allegations, but I love Vince McMahon. It's like, you don't have to say that.
Listen,
just lie.
Okay, listen, right? Who amongst us genuinely believe that John Cena is a good dude?
No. Yeah. I mean, listen, I
know
what it takes to be like in that role at WWE, especially at that time. And yes, I believe he's a little bit of a psychopath, like a low key one.
Yeah, he's a likable dude, which is the difference between him and like a Hulk Hogan. He's more charismatic. There's no way that a person who goes that America in during his act is like a normal human being. Isn't he the one who like appeared and was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have permanently
We have
We have
compromised.
permanently discontinued Osama bin Laden to
Something
a
that's been compromised to a
consistent
permanent end.
Like you look at his eyes when he says that. That's not
Nope.
a normal human being. Okay.
No, definitely
Okay,
not.
that's not a normal being. I would have preferred if he did that message delivery instead of doing his like I'm an American patriot mode. If he was in his you can't see me, I'm a white rapper mode.
Yeah.
That would have been way funnier. That would have been so much better.
Yep, professor of SEAL Team 6-onomics, I think is what his character was at the time. All right, let's explain ourselves. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Gar, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Breaking News or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the show with Nintendo maintains Nintendo Switch 2 pricing retail pre-orders to begin on April 24th in the United States. This does come directly from Nintendo. Retail pre-order. I know, right? I mean, but that's where they have us, right? They're like, yeah, they're giving us the price that we were already complaining about. It's not going up, and we're excited about it.
As well.
Yeah.
Now everyone thinks they're heroes because they didn't change the price.
Exactly. You nailed it. Retail pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 will begin on April 24th, 2025. At launch, the price for Nintendo Switch 2 in the United States will remain, and as announced on April 2nd at as it was announced on April 2nd, at $450. And the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle will remain as announced at $500. Pricing for both physical and digital versions of Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza will remain unchanged as well. They are $80 and $70 respectively. However, Nintendo Switch 2 accessories will experience price adjustments from those announced on April 2nd due to changes in market conditions. Other adjustments to the price of any Nintendo products are also possible in the future depending on market conditions. So, Tam, we'll get into the prices.
We reserve the right to rob you at any moment.
Right. That's true. Right. First of all, like they are going to be able to get away with this price, I think, to themselves by saying, well, we got a ton of Switches already in the country. We'll sell those. And if things go sideways, we could always raise the price later on the new imports. But, I think by raising the prices on the accessories, that's their way of being like, let's put a nerd tax on this. The people who are most likely to spend the most amount of money on our stuff, like the ones that are the most down bad, the ones that like are just going to buy the stuff no matter what we price it at, they are the ones that will be disproportionately hit by the accessory pricing because they're the ones most likely to buy 5 accessories with their Switch 2 because they're so excited. And so we'll have them sort of supplement the cost of everything else going up in terms of our costs. I think that's the move here. You know. It's not the worst case scenario, but it still stinks.
Yeah, you're taxing the nerds who are people like us who are gonna buy that stuff anyway.
That's right.
Well, listen, I think I'm reasonably intelligent, right? I think I can make
I think you're very
decently good decisions. I'm gonna buy that busted ass camera the moment I get an opportunity. I know that thing is gonna be 480p and just be the dog shit. It's on like a giant fucking telescopic stand. It looks awful. I'm having that. I'm getting that.
Yep.
I need that thing. And when you plug in a normal camera into that Switch, it's going to be like, oh, I don't know what this is. This isn't a normal camera. We need our special camera, which is annoying as hell because I've got like 100 USB.
Well, I think those USB cameras might work. That's the thing.
Oh, really? Okay,
yes.
now we're talking.
So I think you might be okay.
Now I feel even more stupid when I buy that thing, and I'm like, look at this.
That's right. I know that too, and I'm like, I'm still probably gonna get that camera. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. So those are the people who are gonna get punished, and the other people who are gonna get punished are the people who are like parents or like buying this Switch thing because they watched all the market and are like, oh, I can play this with my family members or friends.
Right.
Oh, I need a new controller. Oh, this controller's $200. What?
Well, let's get into that. So the Switch 2, $450, the bundle with Mario Kart World, $500, Mario Kart World $80, Donkey Kong Bonanza $70. All of those are the prices that were announced on April 2nd. Let's get into all the things that have now gone up in price. Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, $85. Joy-Con 2, the Joy-Con 2 pair is what they call it here, but it's just basically a new set of Joy-Con, $95. The charging grip, $40. The strap, $14. Joy-Con 2 wheel set, like the thing that I think you put the controller in for Mario Kart, $25. The Switch 2 camera is $55 now. The dock set, so I guess this is a separate dock, $120. Nintendo Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector, $40. The all-in-one carrying case, $85. Switch 2 AC adapter is now $35. That is actually not the worst price. I thought that, honestly, I feel like they would have charged more for that. And then the Samsung microSD express card, 256 gigabytes for Nintendo Switch 2 is $60. Sam's holding up yes, the 8-bit dough Ultimate. Is this the 2?
$50.
Yep.
This is the brand new one.
I mean,
this will work, I imagine, on your whatever your Switch is, your new Switch is. Surely, unless they actively block Bluetooth devices from working, that will work. One, just make sure if normal controllers work on it, just buy something else, man. Like, and then also, don't buy that stupid shit like the wheel. I have like nightmares about that plastic wheel from the Wii era that people bought for Mario Kart. It is the dumbest thing I looked at it and I was like, I cannot believe people are buying this for like, it was like $30 or something like that. It was unreal. I was like, this is just a awful, gross plastic. It's pure white. The moment your hands touch it, every bit of grime your busted ass has been collecting on your hand is going to be visible. Like, just don't do it, man. You don't need most of this stuff. Like, I'm a Nintendo enjoyer. I'll never be pro corporation, but like sometimes you got to vote with your money, man. And it might be time. Like there's more egregious things that you could be worrying about in terms of money, but like I'm of the opinion. I was one of those people who when working in retail, people would be like, I want the plastic wheel thing, and I'd be like, no, you don't, man.
No, you don't.
Like, why I want this, my kid. I was like, you could buy this for $30, or you could buy another game. How about that? And the kid will be like, I want the extra game. And I'll be like, this is why you're a kid. You're dumb. Get out of here. This is why I'm earning minimum wage and you're a child.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. I am with you where it's like, I probably will just not get one of these accessories that I might have otherwise. That, the prices have gone up here. It's not like they're going up commiserate. Is that the right word? With the tariffs. They're going up like $5 each. The Switch 2 Pro controller was $80. Now it's $85. The Joy-Con 2 set, they were $90. Now it's $95. So it's not some steep increase, but any increase is going to hurt. And this is clearly Nintendo just being like, let's get a little extra on top. We feel like the accessories will be easier to get away with. The headline will be the Switch 2 is the same price, and we need to get away with something here. And so that's the move. Are you surprised that they didn't raise the price of the Switch 2? Like, I know that was kind of your call. I think you were probably right on the money on that, but you're like, this is their moment where they probably could have got away with something, and they didn't take it.
Yeah, they could have. I think that raising the price right now would really hurt whatever momentum they've built into marketing the Switch 2 currently, which as it goes into like the launch period and as we approach like the holiday period where people are more inclined to spend money to buy these kind of devices and like even do it to the detriment of their own kind of like financial stability to a degree. Like this is around time, like Christmas time, people are like, I have to do this. I know I've got a bunch of bills to pay, but I gotta do this. This is the thing. Like you don't want to risk any of that, and like jacking up the price could be the thing that pushes people off the fence and just be like, nah, I'm not doing that. That's too much. I think it actually works out in their favor to do it on the peripherals because I believe the kind of markup on that is already pretty high. They're making their money. Traditionally, that's how unless it's changed in recent times and I haven't noticed it, but like consoles are sold at a loss where that is recovered.
Nintendo doesn't usually do that, not in the last few generations, but you're right. That's still pretty typical.
That is how it works with others.
Yep.
But the kind of benefit of that, where you make up, or the kind of a symptom, the result of that, where you make up extra money on games and peripherals.
Yep.
It applies to Nintendo in the same way. They're still making more money on peripherals and games, even if they're not selling the console at a loss. Which means if they're able to crank up the price slightly on those same things, it means that they're making more money than they probably would have if they had jacked up the price of the console itself. So I think it's a very shrewd, very smart move on their part. I'm hoping that consumers are a little more savvy, but also like I don't care if you want to spend your money, do what you want. Like I'm gonna buy. I'm being hypocritical because I'm probably gonna end up buying a couple of these things, but it's just a matter of like, hey, if you have the disposable income and you're in a position to do it and you need to do it, for me, I'd be like, I kind of need to do it because I got to like play these games and test them and that kind of stuff. But like, I think there's enough alternatives out there now that you can find a cost-effective way of getting what you want out of your Switch, which primarily for most people is going to be like, I want a few people to be able to play this. There's probably more cost-effective ways for you to do that beyond the simple and easy thing, which is just order a bunch of Nintendo's peripherals, which is going to cost you a lot more money.
Yep. Yeah, and you're right, definitely right that like Nintendo makes a high margin on those accessories, so that's one of the reasons they do it in the first place. And part of this raising the prices is like, that business, we don't care about being in that business unless it's making us high margins. So returning and like kind of reclaiming those margins is a big part of that. Commensurate. That's what I was trying to say. I knew commiserate wasn't right. I'm like, that didn't sound right. But
commiserate kind of also works as well because no one's getting no one's quality of his life improving. No one's getting more money for the work they do, so I'm commiserate.
All right. Let's see here. Jamie H just has a little note here. Estimates on the profit margins of the OG Joy-Con was around 42%. So it's definitely smart business to increase accessories over console. Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yep.
They know what they're doing. Know what they're doing.
All right.
Now, having said that, if they release
please.
some sort of Donkey Kong peripheral, or if they release an arm cannon for Metroid, I'm buying that. I don't care how much it costs.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Just give it to me, Nintendo.
I know I'm like very excited about Metroid stuff, so anything they kind of give me Metroid right now, I'll be all over it. Yeah, I guess the other side of this that we talked about the price. Pre-orders do begin April 24th in the United States. That's the next. Let's see here. Today is next Thursday. Yeah, it's next Thursday. Yeah. So now we have that date.
Should we have a pre-order stream party?
I think so.
Where we all just get on stream and try and pre-order the console together.
Yes. Did they give a time of day, chat? Let us know.
Yeah. We did that during the PS5 release, where we were in a meeting. It was like me, Lucy, and I can't remember who else it was. Maybe Jordan. And we like mid-meeting stopped to like just all coordinate on pre-ordering the PS5. It was so funny, and it kind of was like fun. And I think like that's the best chance we have of doxing Mitch.
You mean Doxy Mitch again? He's already done that on Blight Club once, so there you go. That's been scrubbed. Everybody, don't go looking for it. It's okay. Marino, thank you very much. Is saying he thinks it's up to the retailer. Like when on April 24th could be midnight. So we'll see. If it's midnight, maybe a stream will be difficult. But
no, it's not. The stream won't be difficult. It's your commitment is the question.
You're right. Yeah. Do I have the internal fortitude to stream myself at midnight trying to get it? I do. So I very much want to like get us together and like share tips and everyone be like, it's working over here. I got mine. You can go now. So that sounds fun to me. We'll see if we can make that happening. All right, let's see here. Mario Kart World Switch 2 bundle will be discontinued this fall. This is from Stephen Petit at GameSpot. During this week's Mario Kart World Focus live stream, Nintendo reiterated an important fact about the Switch 2 console bundle that comes with the game. It will only be available until fall 2025. Nintendo originally announced the bundle's limited availability during the Switch 2 Direct earlier this month, but with pre-order delays and controversy around the game's price, this key detail has flown a bit under the radar, but now during that Direct yesterday, they reconfirmed this. And Tam, I ask you, do you believe them? Do you believe them?
No, I don't believe them. That's bullshit, first of all. Secondly, why? Like, what?
Well, okay, let's be cynical. Why, Tam? Why would they say
why?
this?
Why would you do this? I mean, like, I know why my cynical brain wants to do this, to jack up the demand. Obviously.
Yeah, jack up the demand.
But like, what conceivable reason is there for them to be like, oh, we're only selling this for a little bit of time? That console and that game that everyone wants to buy together, we're not going to sell them together, you'll have to buy them separately. That's the only way that's the only thing that I think would be the reason. Like, when you bundle them together, you usually have to present some sort of discount, right? Like you lower the price slightly. So I imagine the only reason they want to do this is to decouple them because then people have to pay full price for both of those things, which means they get more money out of it. But again, like the success of a lot of the Wii U even and the Switch has come from bundles, like combining a console and a game that people really want to entice people to be like, this is the one thing that you buy and you're good for a long time. It's a very boneheaded move from an optics perspective, but I don't know. It feels like they want to do this because there's something about the way Nintendo is currently moving that makes me feel not great about the attitude towards how they treat consumers. It feels like they previously struck a better balance between like understanding that they are a broadly appealing company with devices that a lot of people want and can also, relatively speaking, afford, right? Like the Wii was relatively speaking cheap. Switch as well, like the Wii as well. I think now they've reached the point where they're looking at it and being like, all right, we're good. People want this stuff. People who buy our stuff, like they don't buy other people's stuff usually. So let's jack up the price and take the piss a bit. I feel like Nintendo might be entering its like take the piss era, this feels like a big part of that. Like I don't understand why you would do this unless you wanted to force people into paying full price for everything, instead of presenting a marginal discount by bundling together. It feels like Wario is in charge. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. I think this is very much a Wario's in charge sort of thing. I think the cynical side is correct on all this, where it is. So yeah, you say it's available through fall 2025, and then don't guarantee it will return at that and after that. So
they don't guarantee it. They're not saying outright that it's not coming back. They're trying to get you to be desperate in the time that
they're trying to get you to be desperate now to be like, well, if I want to get that thing, I'm going to save $30. I should move. Like they're getting you to be like, man, $30 is the reason I need to buy it now. Then, let's be real. There was like almost never a moment during the Switch's life where it didn't have a Mario Kart 8 bundle. Like, and that was always like, hey, this holiday's bundle is going to be bundled with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And then it's like, all right, next year, what's this year's bundle? Bundle with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 7 years in a row almost, it felt like.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can very easily swap in different games to be... It's also a marketing tool, right? Like the latest...
It's a marketing tool, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest game, or the most important game to them, like Mario Kart is the big one right now.
It's the best.
Like when they release Super Mario Sunshine 2 next year, they're going to be like, okay, this is the one that we're bundling in now. However, that doesn't preclude retailers from bundling it themselves, which is usually what happens. When I worked at retail, there was usually one or two official bundles for the Switch, not Switch, the Wii and the Wii U, because they had like the packaging where it was inside and everything like that. However, as a retailer, we had a bunch of bundles that were just like we'd created ourselves. And the company Game or GameStop or whatever it may be had decided these are bundles that we're going to put together on our own and just, put it out there. So Nintendo is saying they can't guarantee it'll be around. I imagine most retailers would just be like, oh, we're just going to sell. Is Amazon going to look at this thing and be like, when we bundle Mario Kart with this Switch 2, our sales numbers skyrocket.
Yep.
We should just do this. They'll do it.
And I don't think they're going to have to. I think that this one they'll go into supplies last. It'll go away, and then Nintendo will reintroduce it, or they'll. This gives them also the ability to be nimble, right? If they do need to raise prices, well, the $500 bundle went away, and it's like that was a limited time thing. So this new bundle is $530. It's bundled with the game, but you actually have to pay a full price for the game now. But this is the readily available bundle, so it gives them room to maneuver if they need to. And then they could also bundle in different games if they wanted to. But they probably just come back.
Link's crossbow training too.
Right. And that's any minute now, I think. They probably come back early next year after the holidays, and be like, hey, the Mario Kart bundle is back. It just won't be that long. It's going to be around this entire console generation, just like it was for the last one. So this is them kind of just giving themselves a small out so they can respond based on what the demand is telling them and what people are saying about the price. And then now what they have to deal with in terms of global trade embargoes and things along those lines.
I hope this is a Nintendo generation where they make sequels to the worst games that they've ever made.
Like what?
Like Mario Sunshine.
Okay, no argument.
Like Link's crossbow training.
Link's crossbow training's all right.
Come on, man, you're better than that.
It's all right for what it
You're
is.
better than that.
It's,
Like what other ass Nintendo games are out there that they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Arms too, rearmed.
Scott the Waz just did a video, and I haven't watched it, but Mike was telling me about it, and he mentioned that Donkey Konga. He mentioned Donkey Konga is one of the worst.
Yeah,
Nintendo
that would be
games.
good. You know what? I'm thinking back.
I disagree. Donkey Konga's great.
I'm thinking back on playing Mario Sunshine, and I think the game is not good. I think it's made much worse by the god awful Nintendo GameCube controller. I think that's where I stand with it.
GameCube controller's pretty good.
The GameCube controller is not good. I'm not hearing this, man. Every button is a different shape and size. Shut the fuck. Why are people like this?
Yeah, they're different buttons.
No,
everything should be the same, man. According to Tam. Get rid of anyone who's different.
That is insane behavior. Like every design principle is broken by that thing. It looks awful. It feels awful. Every button is a different shape and size. There's no consistency with like how any of them feel. It is easily the worst controller that has ever been created after the Nintendo 64 controller.
I like the controller, but I do find it difficult to defend because my bar for is this a good controller is how easy is it to play Tony Hawk with it, and GameCube is a bad controller to play Tony Hawk with.
I remember playing Sunshine and being like, I cannot play this game because I pressed the button, and now I've just realized I've pressed the button down. If I press it harder, it's another button. What's going on? And then this one button is the size of my fist, and then there's this other button right next to it that is the size of like a penny. What's going on? What's going on here? What's happening? I don't understand it, like one bit. I feel like I don't fundamentally trust anyone that says the GameCube controller is good. Okay, once they say, if someone says to me, I think the game controller is great, in my brain, I filter them into a different bucket, which is like, if you're about to get hit by a car, I ain't saving your ass.
I mean, that's a lot of Melee fans that are going to be killed in your world, Tam. That's
all the worst people in the world? I get it.
No argument for me. All right, let's see here. Did Nintendo justify Mario Kart World's $80 price tag? So the Direct did happen yesterday. Steve Watts at GameSpot wrote this story, but this is something a lot of people are talking about. Hey, that Direct happened. I think people's expectation was, one, we'd get like some new surprising thing from Mario Kart World that people really didn't know about to make the Direct make sense. And then a lot of details about why this thing is $80. And people didn't feel like they got either of those things. I thought it was a good Direct just because I'm like very excited about this game. But the common response has been, this is still not worth $80. And if you were watching that Direct to be like, tell me why it's $80, what are you doing? Like, it's like, of course, it's just another game. And they want more money. That's all that is. The BS excuse that they gave about there's so much content in here, so that's how we come up with the price. That's a lie. They were lying to you because they're a corporation who wants your money. So of course that was never going to be in the Direct. That was never a real thing. And if you look at this game and you like say it's not worth $80, you're right, and you don't have to buy it for $80. And I just wouldn't. If that's how you're feeling, I don't blame anyone for just sitting out on it, because a game should try to win you over and convince you that its price is actually correct.
Here's the long and short of it all. Nintendo has always maintained that it believes that its games are worth a premium. Even in an era where the hardware that runs the games is older and behind its competitors, Nintendo's focus has always been, and their kind of perspective has been, we make amazing games. We are going to charge what we think is the most fair price for our perception of what we believe these games are. And that has always been full price. It's always been why they also never discount their games. They've been open about saying, we don't discount our games because we don't want to reduce the value of our games.
That's right.
We now live in an era where Nintendo believes that is still the case, and they believe that their games are good enough that they can charge a premium price for it. That premium price no longer being $60, but $80. You can talk about, economic context and the actual amount of content in there till the cows come home. Ultimately, they just think that this is how much their game is worth. Or
how much they can get from you for it. Yes.
Yeah, and they believe that this is how much that they can get from you. Okay? doesn't really matter if you think there's not enough content in there or you think there's not new or fresh idea enough. They believe this is how much it's worth and that's how much they're going to charge. And it doesn't matter. Like, we can talk about how much is in there and all the other factors that play into it. They are impervious to those lines of thinking. That could work in any other console, any other publisher, any other developer. Nintendo has just got a history of being stubborn about it, and it will maintain that way. Now, here's the interesting part of it. Nintendo, as I mentioned, never ever discounts their games. But the games haven't been this high since Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 era, right?
Yep.
The question now becomes like, do they stay at $80? Or is the price high enough now that they've given themselves a buffer zone where they can discount every now and then? Because I think the one thing
probably not, but maybe.
But the thing is, like, the one thing that I really think about is like Nintendo's eShop is the most unenjoyable place to go to when you are in the mood to buy a game.
You are correct.
Because you go in there and none of the games that they make are ever even on discount. Like, very rarely are they on discount.
Very rarely. And then when they are discounted, it's down to 45.
Yeah, the amount of times I've purchased a Nintendo game from the eShop is minuscule compared to...
And we're not talking about like the Animal Crossings and the Mario Karts. Even like the Yoshi games that aren't selling 25 million copies. Also only going down to 45 like once every 2 years.
Even if I get like a second Switch, right? And I want to download another copy of, I want to buy another copy of whatever game. I'm not doing it. I'm not buying it from your, like, I would rather find a physical version of it and pay a premium for that. I think now we might be in a position where potentially they could be like, we're going to drop this $5 because they are missing out on digital sales. Like, they create a digital store space where their games don't benefit from it at all. Right? Like, you go in there, most people never buy it. Or like, if they're like me, they never buy a Nintendo game from there. So they're just running this store for other people. So I imagine now there might be an opportunity for them to be like, well, if we just take the price down, $5, $10, we get some digital sales too. Like, that could be beneficial to us. So maybe there's something in that, but
I hope so.
We can argue about whether these games are worth $80. They do not care. Okay, as far as they're concerned, they made people, they hired people to make those games, and then they went through the trouble of putting those games out. They're going to charge it the price they think is fair, and $80 is currently what they think is fair.
Yep,
that's it.
And like, if we're asking the why, I saw plenty of headlines yesterday. Why is Mario Kart World $80? Like, the real answer is just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 60 million copies. That's the reason they think it's worth $80. It's completely disconnected from how we feel when we buy a game. Those two things have nothing to do with one another, is what Tam is saying, and I completely agree. That's what's so frustrating about the way this stuff always works is, like, we think we're in this a relationship with these companies to be like, you convince me to buy your product, convince me to spend that much money on it, and they're just not even looking at you. They're looking at a chart, and they go with what they can get away with. So, yeah, of course, the game's not worth $80 to a lot of people, and yet I still think it's going to sell. It's probably going to be like up there as the second, third best-selling game of this year, and one of the top 10 best-selling. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out this year, and that's multi-platform, so that'll be tough, but you're right. It could still be Mario Kart. And then Mario Kart World will be one of the best-selling, 10 best-selling games of the year, like, for the next 5 years. So
ain't coming out this year, dog.
I hope you're right, because I counterpicked it in Fantasy Critics. So
I don't think that game is coming out.
Yep. Well, in that case, then I do think Mario Kart could very easily be the best-selling game of the year. All right, let's, let's take a break. When we come back, there's one more Nintendo story to get into, or at least update on, and then we'll get into the rest of the dregs for a Friday right after this. All right, we're back at it. Jeff Grubb, Timur Hussein, game-breaking news. Thanks for watching. Nintendo has now removed all references to VRR for TV play. This is from My Nintendo News. We talked about this yesterday, and I think at the time I was not, like, this was kind of happening. The things were getting removed. I thought this might have been VRR in general. This seems to be just for VRR on TV through the dock. VRR is still mentioned on NVIDIA's blog post about the Switch 2 for handheld, and they say specifically in handheld mode, but VRR references on all websites now. Yesterday they had removed it from the Nintendo website for like Japan, the United States, and a few other regions, but it was still up on the European site. It has now also been removed from the European site. To me, Tam, this says that there's some issue with getting VRR running on whatever they're doing with that dock. The dock seems to be using some. I didn't look into it too much, but there is like an adapter built into the dock to make the USB-C work with the DisplayPort technology that Nintendo is using. Seems like they might not have that ready to go at launch, or maybe ever, because now they're just removing any reference to VRR and they're not giving more information about it. The VRR, as a reminder, variable refresh rate, G-Sync, FreeSync, enables your TV and your console to update at the same frame rate, so it looks much smoother than if the game is running at 45 frames per second and the TV's going 60 and there's frame timing, frame pacing issues. This solves a lot of that. This, it's a bummer. It's weird. I'm happy it's still in the handheld mode, but I do wonder what's going on
it's
here.
Very surprising that it doesn't. I would think that it would be the other way around. Like they would prioritize making it work for TV mode and less so on handheld mode, right? Like it's very weird because there's some control over the display in handheld mode. Whereas on a TV, and who knows what TV that's being plugged into, So it's kind of interesting and weird that this is going on in that way. I mean, if they think, I don't know, like are they running games where that is important? And I imagine Nintendo probably is like, it doesn't really care. We don't really care about this. But it's also
it's definitely an NVIDIA thing, because Sean in the chat is saying this is specifically the proprietary G-Sync tech. Now, they've opened that up in a lot of ways over the years. So it does work on stuff that's like FreeSync and VRR, like generic VRR. But this technology is an NVIDIA thing. So you say Nintendo might not care, I think could be pretty accurate.
Yeah, and also I think that this is something that they can very easily like update the console with later.
Yes, that's what happened with the PlayStation 5. So yesterday I was trying to remember, it was the PS4 Pro, it was the PS5. PS5 launched without VRR. About two and a half years later, got updated with VRR finally. So the same thing could happen here.
I think as long as it's not going to be an issue, as long as it doesn't become evident that VRR is missing in the games that they put out. Like if you're playing Metroid Prime and it's a mess, then people are going to be like, "Where's the VRR? Why is this happening?" I think they're confident in at least the first crop of games that they're putting out to not be noticeable or have any issues with it. Which is probably right.
Yeah, there's they have a handful of games that are going to run at more than 60 frames per second, and I imagine in those cases VRR would be very handy to have, because are we really going to get a solid 120 frames per second from Metroid Prime 4? We might. But we might not too. 120 frames per second is a lot. That's difficult to pull off. So in that situation, I see VRR would be great to have, but also the higher the frame rate is, actually a little bit less important VRR is, because it becomes more difficult to notice screen tearing and when frame pacing is off a little bit. That's much more noticeable in the 30 to 60 frame rate range.
Do you think Metroid Prime 4 is going to have multiplayer?
I don't. No, I think we're far past that. Do you? Is that something you would want?
Absolutely not. No, but I definitely want to see Nintendo do it so I can see, I can enjoy them falling down the stairs.
Yeah, I think they might know better this time.
I played Metroid Prime Hunters on DS, and it was easily one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life, but it was hilarious to me and fun.
I really want to play Metroid Prime Hunters on Giant Bomb again.
Dude, I bought the dongle that lets you connect to the internet using the DS, and it was atrocious. And I still did it. I was there. I was one of those people playing Metroid Prime Hunters on the internet, being annoying as hell by camping.
Were you in a clan? Were you in a Metroid Prime Hunters clan? Because I know someone who was.
Bold of you to think that I have friends that would want to play Metroid Prime Hunters online.
I think that they are. They're at a point now where it's like they have Splatoon, right? They don't need to force a multiplayer shooter into Metroid anymore. All right. Xbox hints at Indiana Jones sequel and says we think there's life in that franchise.
And by life, we mean money.
Yeah, we think that we can make more money. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Microsoft's gaming boss has hinted at a future for the Indiana Jones franchise within Xbox Game Studio, following the positively received release of The Great Circle. Machine Games, I call it the Fantastic Circle personally. Machine Games, Indiana Jones, and the Fantastic Circle was released for Xbox and PC in December to positive reviews, amassing over 4 million players, according to Microsoft. With Machine Games currently working on DLC for the game and a PlayStation 5 version releasing this week, Microsoft's Phil Spencer was asked by Variety whether the company has larger plans for Indy, and he said, "I will say we're really happy with Indy and the players and the reception." Spencer responded, "We do think there's life in that franchise, and I'm just going to leave it at that. We're launching on PlayStation here pretty soon. I think that'll be a cool moment." My expectation here is that if they can get away with doing a trilogy, that's what they're going to aim for, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's the feeling. Okay, you think so too?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think maybe the next game in that series probably launches day and date on PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
we're
depending on how it performs, like I think there will be monitoring to be like see how much the interest there is on the PlayStation.
Yeah, why not at this point?
This. Yeah, and like if you want to, you've got this license and you want to try and make the most of it, the best thing you can do is put it out on multiple places around when there's a zeitgeist around it, right? Like so. I imagine they will be cool. I would prefer if Machine Games did another Wolfenstein or something else of their own.
I wish they could finish the end of the world trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if they go back and do another indie for another thing. And I don't know, maybe let them do a one for you, one for us kind of thing. Let them make another.
That would be awesome.
Wolfenstein, and then go into another indie game. I don't really care about Indiana Jones, so
sure.
I played that game to completion and I thought it was okay, it was fun, but like I don't have much affinity for Indiana Jones as an IP. I do for Wolfenstein though, so I'm inclined more that way.
Yep, I love Indiana Jones, but at this point, I'm like, man, Wolfenstein's super important to me. So I wish they could finish out that Wolfenstein series. I just want to kill Mecha Hitler. You know, I feel like we got that. You know, we weren't explicitly promised that, but I feel like we were promised that, and now we're not going to get a chance to do that. And they're not going to put Mecha Hitler in Indiana Jones. But
I want a game where you play as a dog and they call it Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein, yes, exactly.
Come on.
What's BJ Barkowitz?
Barkowitz, yeah. There's a dedicated bark button, and you can use it like Snake's knock on the wall thing to lure people to you.
There you go.
That's so good. Imagine playing that game and you get to kill Hitler as a dog.
Yeah. Oh, that's the dream right there. No more petting dogs. Just
you killing
Hitler with dogs. Yeah, I like it. Yep, Indy was like a game that really hit pretty hard for me. I do like Indiana Jones a lot, like I said, and that game I thought was very well done. But you can also just tell now that they have that foundation, a sequel is going to be so much better, I think. So I kind of I'm like, where are you going to take it next? They have this whole world they can go to with Indiana Jones. So I'm like, I want to see it. Although I think sticking with killing Nazis is probably a smart idea.
Co-op is coming. I guarantee it.
All right. Let's see here. Star Wars Outlaws Switch 2 release date confirmed and a Pirate's Fortune DLC trailer revealed. Star Wars Celebration is happening. Is Lucy actually in Shoot Japan for that? Like, is she out there?
She is.
I know she's doing a panel.
She's presenting a panel for the new Star Wars game coming out of... Not this one. There's another one that they talked about.
The Bit Reactor one?
Yeah, the Bit Reactor one, which sounds really, really cool. I can't
looks good.
Remember the name of it because there's too many Star Wars
Zero
things.
Company, and you can remember this.
Company.
You and I can remember this?
Yeah,
it's ZCOM instead of XCOM.
ZCOM. And that is probably the Star Wars game I'm most excited about now.
It looks very cool.
But yeah, she's doing a panel with devs for that, and we'll be talking about it. So if you spot her on the broadcast anywhere, make sure you show her some love. But yeah, she's over there. She's in Shoot Japan.
That's awesome. I'm happy. That's very cool. I've never been to Star Wars Celebration. I think it's pretty neat. You could go to the one in Tokyo.
I went to one in London. They had it in London one time. It was great, and that was when I wasn't even like super into. I guess it was post like Force Awakens. So I think Force Awakens was where I was like, oh, I should pay attention to Star Wars again. I care about this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I remember enjoying it being there. I think I enjoyed other people. I think I enjoyed the fact that British people got to celebrate Star Wars because most of the time, whenever any of this stuff happens, events, it's always in America.
Right.
So we had the most British Star Wars nerds, which means like people dressed up as Luke Skywalker, but with bad teeth.
I thought you were going to say Imperials because all the Imperials have British accents, but it's like, no, still Luke Skywalker, but there is one key difference.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws game came out.
The Force in it.
Use the Force. Oi, Gov. Star Wars Outlaws Switch 2 came out last year. It's a Ubisoft game. They have been working on DLC. That DLC is called A Pirate's Fortune. It is coming soon. Let's see here. What's the date? Well, the Switch 2 version of the game is launching September 4th, though it is yet to confirm whether that will release alongside the DLC. And then, I don't know, maybe the DLC does not have a release date. I put that here. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yes, here it is. A Pirate's Fortune, the second of 2 planned story packs for the game, will be released on all formats on May 15th. Ubisoft has confirmed. I thought that was the date. It just slipped my mind. Yeah, I've Star Wars Outlaws is a game that like got okay reviews, but a lot of people just were not in the mood at all for it because of where Star Wars is at. I get it. They have tried to like make this game matter again. Do you feel like they've made any inroads to accomplishing that? Or is this one of those games where it's like, man, they're putting a lot of efforts in trying to get more juice out of that squeeze and that it's all for naught?
I don't think it's all for naught. I think there's enough of a community there that they probably feel it's worth their while to produce more content for it, or at least make good on the content they plan to put out there. I think that it hasn't made a big splash, despite being a pretty well-made game and generally receiving positive feedback. I just don't think I think like it didn't hit in the way that they thought it would. And yeah, I feel like a lot of the air has been kind of like sucked out by the Jedi series, which is, I think what we're learning here is people don't really care about anything beyond being a Jedi too much. When it comes to gaming.
It sucks because I'm a Star Wars fan, and that's like I don't need to be a Jedi anymore. But I think I'm in the minority.
I think I'm there on paper, but the kind of bounty hunter experience, I've not played a good bounty hunter experience game yet, and even like Outlaws isn't great. Like I don't really
it's not great
because it just fundamentally comes down to like you're playing a third-person shooter in a lot of ways, right?
Yep.
Whereas like the Survivor games are a little more up my alley. I just think, I think there's not a lot of room for multiple Star Wars games that aren't like exceptionally good. Like even Battlefront was like a flash in the pan. Like it kept going for a really long time and it had a lot of drama behind it, but I don't think people fondly remember it like Battlefront 2. Is it Battlefront 2?
Yeah, Battlefront 2 is the one that had the most drama and did continue for quite a while. And people were like, "Hey, this is actually pretty good," and everyone's like, "Yeah, well, we're okay." You're right.
I think that having said that, there's still a lot of mileage to be kind of like gained out of Outlaws. I think there's I think it has a future both in games and outside of games. I think like if Lucas or whoever Disney's smart enough, they would start thinking about how to better integrate the games into their non-gaming worlds. Like Cal Kestis should be showing up elsewhere now. To kind of bolster whatever's happening.
To make things matter. Because I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of the Star Wars stuff right now is people they want to spend time watching movies, but they like movies that they feel like matter, especially when they're part of a greater whole. That's why like the Solo, a Star Wars story, other than following up Last Jedi and all the crazy stuff that was happening there, it didn't matter to the overall story that was being told. Like just like by its very nature, and everyone understood that. So like it just didn't feel necessary. And I think by crossing over and making these things interlock a little bit more, they can make it matter. I mean, that's Andor stuff right now is like, oh, this matters to explaining the world and like what it would be like to live in this place and be just a normal person trying to scrape by, and that's what's given it a lot of juice. And a lot of this other stuff just doesn't have that.
Yeah, I would like to see like K-Vess, right? That's the name of the character. Something like that.
Yeah, K-Vess, yes.
Yeah. I would like to see K like pop up in something else.
Yep.
I think that would help.
Even like the books.
Yeah, whatever. Just put
whatever. Comics.
Whatever that little freak is called as well that hangs around with
her little freak.
That little freak and some stuff.
I continue to think, like I said this right away, Star Wars Outlaws in 5, 6, 7 years is going to be looked back upon much more fondly than it was greeted as. So just give it a little bit more time. And I said it's not great, it's good, but there's parts of it where I'm like, this is fantastic. And that's like the walking around. It's got the best walking around of any licensed game ever in terms of just getting the vibes right.
Here's my take on Star Wars games. They need to stop making Star Wars games where you're like the good guy or the the light side of the story, the good side of the story. I think the Star Wars game should be more dark side stuff. Like I was way more interested in Force Unleashed than I was in any other Star Wars game because it's like you are Darth Vader's homie, and you see what happens from that point on. Like I would love it if they just stopped doing, because the kind of like hero story in Star Wars to me is boring. Like I find that stuff really lame.
That's why I thought Outlaws would work, right? Because it's supposed to be like it's not explicitly dark side, right? But you're in the underground, the slimy side. But you're right, that's not working as well as I think.
Yeah, ultimately,
people mess around with the evil powers.
Yeah, ultimately you're a scoundrel, that kind of stuff, whatever. But ultimately you are a Han Solo-esque, a good person at heart. Whereas, like, I think, Force Unleashed, you basically go into that game thinking, I'm working for Darth Vader. This is going to be dope. And it is dope for a really long time. And then, that character Starkiller goes on kind of like a journey, which I think is way more interesting. And that also fulfills the angle of exploring parts of the universe in a different way that is more intriguing than Andor does. Because Andor is just like, Andor is, for me, I'm not super into Andor. I think it's fairly plain, but what gives it legs is like we've never seen this kind of side of it, and it's very much like ordinary person just making it work, you know. And if you explore like the dark side, or like, you're put in some really shitty positions, and that is how like your journey goes. I think that's way more interesting. Like, do a proper Darth Maul game, like. What is the story of Darth Maul? We know the story of Darth Maul. My man
they actually just announced a new Maul comic or animated series.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's good. He's in the movies, gets divided by 2, and then pops up again later on with robot legs, and like, there's a lot of material.
He would have been a good fit for a game, though. You're right.
Yeah, in a game that's like ideal.
Yep. Like, go even more Souls born.
Imagine a Soulsborne game with Darth Maul.
Maul, yes.
Come on, dude.
Right, and like he's from that Force Witch planet, so you could just do crazy Force Witch giant monster enemies and stuff like that. That'd be fucking neat.
And like, if you want to make a co-op mode, you can have him get cut in half, and you control 2 halves. There you go, easy.
Perfect. All right, Tam, I want to thank you.
I love the idea of a co-op mode where you're 2 halves of Darth Maul, and one of you can punch and the other one can only kick.
Yes, it's perfect. Tam, thank you, because I know Star Wars is not so much your thing right now. But you humored me and you gave me a lot there, so I'm going to reward you. Are you ready?
I'm a Star Wars fan. Yeah, give me some good stuff. Give me the good
stuff. You tell me if this is good stuff, but I know it's your wheelhouse. Diablo 4 crossover features the greatest manga of all time. This is from Scott Baird at Dual Shockers. As a Blizzard franchise, Diablo has crossed over with other series owned by the company in the past, including Overwatch and StarCraft 2. On rare occasions, it has dipped into other franchises, such as the Nintendo Switch version of Diablo 3, featuring content from the Legend of Zelda series, including a Cucco. I never know how to say this. Cucco. Featuring a Cucco. The 2025 roadmap for Diablo 4 was looking pretty bare, even though it hinted that there would be crossovers with new IP. The official Diablo Twitter /X account has confirmed that one of these crossovers is with Berserk. Tam, Berserk and Diablo, does that sound good to you?
My boy right there.
Yep, there he is.
It's funny because
it's a real Cucco right there.
Yep. It's funny. They emailed me. They were like, hey, we have a collaboration coming up. Would you like to learn about it? It's with a Japanese IP. And I've replied, is it Berserk? ? And they were like, what damn? How did you figure that out? I was like, it's the most obvious thing anyone has ever created. And they were like, okay.
You think this is a good fit? I've never read Berserk. And I intend to. I want to. It's like actually I'm going to go to the library and get it.
I think it's a good fit. I think what most people will be reacting to right now is being like, yay, Berserk, oh, Diablo.
Right, is that where we're at?
Which I get, but also don't kind of think it's... Diablo 4 is a decent game. Like, it's a good game, I think. I know people get real upset and edgy about Diablo. Immortal, I'm not as much into. I think Immortal is a bit more sketch. But that last Diablo game was good, I think. I enjoyed playing what I played of it. But with that in mind, I think that the world of Berserk fits nicely in there. Diablo 4 especially, it leans into being a little more dark than Diablo 3 was. 3 was like weirdly kind of sterile or like more approachable. It didn't have that Diablo darkness that people wanted for it. So I think there's a little more mileage to work with for Berserk there. I don't expect Guts to show up or like, Casca or Griffith to pop up. I think it's more a case of like, here's a big sword. This is the Berserk sword, which is fine. Like that's cool. I'll take that. People who are actively playing Diablo will just be like, okay, cool, big sword, good stats on it. Whereas if you're like, as a Berserk fan, I'm not currently seeing anything or hearing anything that's like, I'm reinstalling Diablo.
Sure.
So I get it. Like it works. It's cool. And if you're into that, have fun.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it for the headlines, everybody. But we have a poll question to get into. Let me get mine up here so I can get the results for you. I'm going to refresh. Yesterday, we asked who has more aura? And we gave you 3 options, and they were image options. It's Mariachi Waluigi, Bumblebee Wario, or traditional Japanese garb Mario. And 14% went with Mario, 24% went with Wario, and 61% are down with the Riz that is Mariachi Waluigi. Tam, do you have a favorite?
Answer. That is the correct answer. The problem is the aura on Mariachi Waluigi is kind of serial killery.
Yep. Yeah.
Like that is like I have done crime and I will do crime again aura.
Right. Now, like I'm just between crimes right now. That's you're just catching me there.
I'm on crime cooldown, but I will be back soon. You know what I mean? It's weird. I respect that. Is fundamentally the question was who's got the most aura, not who's got the most good aura.
Yes, correct.
The most good aura is obviously Wario.
Yes, right. If I saw in reality, Wario looking exactly like this, dressed as a bumblebee, I think I would just follow him.
Yeah,
and be like, wherever he's going is going to be a good time, so I'm just following him.
Yeah. I want to be friends with that guy. That bumblebee guy on a bike that is way too small, I want to be friends with that person.
Yep.
Mario, I'm like, I'm going to check some registers to make sure you're not on there.
Yep. All right. Well, we got our results for that. We got a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. Before we do that, Tam, tell people what you have going on, where they could find you on the internet, all that good stuff.
Currently, I have a tummy ache, which means I will be spending a lot of time in the toilet. If you want to join me with that, you can find me at mytoilet.com. Otherwise, I'm on everywhere at TomorH. Follow me on Instagram. I started teasing I feel like I've just constantly been saying, I'm coming back to Twitch streaming. I am. Seriously, I am. I've just been like figuring it all out. I put like a bunch of artwork, not clips, like some snippets of my artwork that I got done.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Streams. It looks really cool. Done by the one and only Jerem. It looks so nice. I love it. That's all like some of my holding screen art, which is cool. So gonna be coming back to that. I'm on Blue Sky, tomorh.com. What is the UPF for today? UPF.
Oh yes, we're playing Rematch. The FIFU from the people that made Sifu, Rocket League with people.
Did you get a code for that? How did you get that?
So I did get a code, but that is not applicable because this is an open beta that just opened up. You have to register your interest on Steam. I think they're letting people in. Jan registered his interest this morning. Jan, have you been let in yet? Do you know if you? I guess he might not be able to check.
I cashed in a code.
Okay, cashed in a code. Okay, so but you can register your interest and you should be able to just get in there. We're going to try to run with a pretty full team. It is not open. Sean's saying it's not open, but you have to you just register your interest. That's how they
I already did that.
On.
I didn't receive an email, which I can only assume is down to like some severe racism.
Almost certainly, yes. But yeah, we'll be doing that, and we're gonna probably play as a team and go on there and challenge other teams, and we'll see how that goes. Really looking forward to that. I think that game looks fantastic. So that'll be later today. But up next is it says here GameSpot After Dark. So latest episode of the podcast coming up. Look out for that, everybody. We'll be running.
So it's a little earlier because we had nothing but positive feedback, and people were like, "Can we have this earlier, please?" And We were like, hell yeah, we can have... No, nobody said that. We just wanted to make it earlier, so it was not a pain in the ass to edit.
It's my podcast, and I want it now.
Like 4 p.m. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, that's a good point. The shows late on a Friday are a pain. All right, let's see here. Yeah, no Power Bomb cast. At least not this week. We'll see. We got WrestleMania happening, and
I feel like I've not been given the clearance to say any of this, so I'm not going to say anything specific. But if you're in the area, maybe you should go to PAX East this year.
I think we're good to say that like we're gonna be there, like that because we've submitted our panel stuff. I think we're still waiting to get exact timing, like for sure. But like Friday and Saturday, we're gonna have stuff.
It's gonna be cool. There's gonna be some fun surprises there. Well, there's one thing I'm most looking forward to, and it is meeting a core member of our team that none of us have actually met in person before, which is very exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll be there.
Friday, Saturday. Let's just say
Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturdays when we'll have stuff. Like there will be Giant Bomb, our team, stuff happening on those days. So if you're trying to like schedule it because you want to see us, thank you. But those are the days you should try to aim for. The Blake Club thing's supposed to be on Saturday. So and Mike won't be there. So you'll have to see who's going to play Mike on this episode. Yep.
Oh man.
And you know why he's not going to be there, right, Tam?
He's moving house because he doxed himself.
That's a good second guess, but no, he's going to be at Disney World.
Oh.
All right. Let's see here. We mentioned what's happening. We'll be back next week. Hey, Jan, are we off on Monday?
What?
No,
we're not. I can't because I think because it's Easter this week, and I couldn't remember if we were off on Monday or not.
Think we care about Easter?
I don't, and I was just kind of hoping others would, so I would get the day off. But okay. I don't know. I think I was told maybe
we don't. I checked the other day because despite living here for 5+ years now, I still don't know what's a holiday and what isn't. And
I can't remember either, Tam. Don't worry. Okay.
If we have Easter off, and they laughed at my face, and I was like, "Listen, I don't care.
All right. Well,
I'm just trying to get a free day."
Forget Jesus, Dan. We'll be back on Monday. Look out for us, everybody. In the meantime, though, Tamar Hussein oh wait, did I get the new poll question? Let's see. What did I say that I was going to put there? Oh, yeah. Did Nintendo justify $80 Mario Kart World to you? Yes, no. And third option is, I don't know, but I'm buying it. So go ahead, vote on there. We'll get the results on Monday's game-breaking news here on the Power Block with Giant Bomb and GameSpot. Speaking of all that good stuff. Yeah, well, look at it in there.
Jan moved it so it's full screen, and it did it on my screen. And I was like, "Oh, I'll vote in this," and I just clicked the video screen.
That's incredible. Did you see that? Okay, Star Wars Battlefront 2. People said yay over nay for both the 2005 and the 2017 version. And then Sunshine was voted officially a bad game by our chat. There you go. All right, Tam, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah, it's always a good time.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.